What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 34 and the very last part of my Total War Warhammer 3 Yuan Bo Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we have begun the endgame scenario. The Will of Khashutin got our first battles with Long Yuan Du and Touche here, the Gunnery Army and the Construct Army. Both of them do survive, and, well, as long as we can kill off the rest of these, they shouldn't be under threat from anything else. Now, sorry about the delay. I did want to get this episode out earlier, but two issues came up. One being I was very busy at work this week, and everything had to be delayed, and then I was going to get this episode out yesterday, but apparently there's currently a bug, or at least there was a bug for me. I started recording this episode, and apparently Jarnagrund, the settlement battle, is bugged, as in no matter what I do, it won't load, it won't work, it just crashes the game every time, and that I try to get into the fight for this. It's not a huge deal because its garrison is already dead, so the actual settlement doesn't matter at all, but it is a little bit unfortunate slash annoying. Not a big deal though, because we have a much bigger battle here in the form of these three armies together and our three dragons to take them on. So we're going to jump right into that, which will probably be the biggest battle of the campaign, and then we'll try to close out the campaign by getting at least one battle for the other armies that have not yet had their chance to fight. So in order to do this, we're first going to move Jiao Ming into Jarnagrund and besiege it for a second. Then we're going to use that opportunity to apply the various banners to him, support banners on the war drums, magical damage on the righteous lances, and the piercing or razor standard on the Zhaoovs here. And then I'm going to simply break the siege, and the banners should be continuing, or should stay applied to all those units, which is what we wanted. Then I'm going to do the same thing with Miao Ying here. Oh, actually, before we do that, we'll move you, Mr. Zhao, a little bit closer to this guy because we want to draw all of them into battle. Unfortunately, Gord is a little bit too far away from these armies, so we'll have to fight these three without him, but, well, 3-on-3 should still be pretty darn good. Alrighty, you, Miao Ying, to Jarnagrund now, and we'll do the same thing. We'll swap out the Banner of the Moon Empress for the Banner of the Empress's Eye, which is kind of similar, but additional range for Yuan's bows. They get the best banner for their name, and Banner of the Moon Empress on, you know what, one of you. Let's say you, because you're going to be in the center. A little bit of stock for the Crane Gunners. Too bad that these things don't provide snipe, but not a big deal. Standard of Wasian, I guess, is going to go on the non-stop drum solo slash war drum here, and that's good, so we're going to break the siege once again. And then we're going to move you into position as well. And not to worry, this is pretty much all the admin that we're going to have to do for this entire episode. Are you able to move into position where we can have you all fight? I hope so. Alright, it does look like it, and I do believe that the newly spawned armies cannot run, so beautiful. Here we are, and Yuan, you can have the Banner of Swiftness as well. We'll be facing off against 3 full stacks of Chaos Dwarfs, and I'm going to do my best not to rely too much on destroying them with spell damage, as in, we'll try to let our army do the work rather than, you know, the hilariously overpowered spells against the AI, or maybe even avoid doing too much damage with the Fire Rain rockets, just so that the various Celestial Dragon Guard and crossbows and the Terracotta Sentinels can have their chance to fight in melee. Anyway, here we go, biggest battle of the campaign. If I could have fought this last as the finale battle, I would have, but this is essentially the finale battle. Here we go.
These villains dare stand against us, against the Celestial. Let us show them their hubris in the moments before their deaths. Cathay, with me!
Alrighty, maybe you should have said Grand Cathay there, Yuan, but that's just fine. Anyway, here we go. Does feel a little bit weird, perhaps, to have the final battle essentially as the first battle of the episode, but, well, it is what it is, doing things a little bit in reverse order this time around. Anyway, we're going to start the battle off by heading our monsters, dragon and construct alike, directly towards the enemy zone, metallic constructs, i.e. Their Dreadquake Iron Demons. We want to get rid of these things so that we can use our infantry freely and not have to rely on our artillery. Just have a nice little bit of an artillery duel. The 2-star Dragon's Breaths brings the Iron Demon down to about half HP, especially with the armor reduced to a mere 6 on a thing that's basically all armor, which is pretty great. The Star Dragon's Breaths obviously effective both against single entities and against groups of units alike. Anyway, Yuan Bo's gonna move in, the Star Dragons are going to follow suit as well, and we're going to try to rip that Iron Demon apart. Final transmutation, debuffs, the dragons, and everything will bring that thing down before the lions and the Jade Guardian, Green Guardian, whatever, are here. And look at that, the blunderbusses are firing and their shots are coming back because of that missile reflection. You got to love to see that. Oh, I wish we had plenty more of this. Every time this thing's on the field, I really enjoy this ability it has. In the meantime, Yuan has transformed. It looks like his dragon form was not needed to bring the enemy Iron Demon down, but that's fine. Yuan can bring the enemy Lord down instead, and he can bring him down real quick because the enemy Lord was already damaged, and thus the Executioner's sword comes down, and so does the enemy Lord follow suit. But the X marks the spot on the Iron Demon. Lovely. Also, I most definitely... Oh, well, did you look at that? The arrows are looking pretty cool there, huh? I guess they were trying to fire at Yuan, but they kind of all separated into the sky. Anyway, I really didn't expect this to be a choke point battle, but this should be interesting. Once again, we're going to try our best not to use artillery here, really. Well, I mean, we can use the grand cannons, but they're not going to get much more kills than something like a fire glaive would. So just not the fire rain rockets, as that would absolutely make too quick work of the pile of enemies. And there we go, Yuan finally has some additional dragons in his army. Well, of course he also has his siblings, which are following him around, but until they get onto the field, he'll have to make do with the Star Dragons, who together will bring down this Bale Taurus without any problems. And even though they take a few hits from the enemy range units, I don't imagine that the Star Dragons will care about it all that much, as they're pretty darn heavily armored. There we are, very nice. The enemy army is still hanging back, of course, which I can appreciate because they will blob up before heading towards us, but it will also allow us to move on to the field as well. Looks like Miao Ying has arrived, and Zhao Ming will follow suit eventually. Of course, we won't be able to use his entire army, but not a big deal. His army does echo that of Yuan Bo's quite a bit, so we can simply use the Celestial Dragon Warriors and Crossbows together and see how that line holds against the massive onslaught of the Chaos Dwarfs, who should outnumber them. Lovely. Also, I know I've said this before, but I love how these 5 constructs in Yuan Bo's army match each other. The Jade Lions and the Jet Lions, together with this one Terracotta Sentinel that is green and black together. Absolutely beautiful. And of course we have Meow's Meow arriving as well. Can't have let the other named units have all the fun, of course. Alrighty, and our Grand Cannons are going to do a little bit of firing, but that is inconsequential for now. And the key here is to try to... what the heck? Yuan Bo has the same symbol as an alchemist does. Well, that's weird. Yeah, it's the same symbol as an alchemist, the Metalor symbol, which is wrong. You could give that symbol to Zhao Ming, perhaps, but not to Yuan Bo. He doesn't use this Wind of Magic at all. Huh, weird. No, well. Not that it's a big deal, mind you. Alrighty, and here come the Star Dragons as well, with the second Dreadquake Mortar soon to be out of the way, and I do mean soon, as it's not going to stand up to, well, it probably wouldn't be able to stand up to one of these units, much less Jiao Ming and Miao Ying and 2 Star Dragons. And there we go. They're done for, or it's a done for, and we can get back to the battle. Speaking of the battle, it looks like the enemy has gotten annoyed enough by the destruction of its second artillery piece to start moving towards us, and we're gonna start working on them. Specifically, our cannons are gonna fire, and our crane gunners are going to do their best to damage a few of the important targets, I should say. There we go. We also have Yuan's bows firing. We have a pretty nice position, a very slightly elevated position, but it does allow for our crane gunners and crossbows to fire without interference, and as we can see, the first of the enemy units, a unit of blunderbusses and hobgoblin wolf raiders, have blundered in to way too many arrows. Arrows and bullets, I guess, in this particular situation. And there we go, they go down. Next we'll be switching fire to the Cathay destroyer, which I imagine is also not going to have a very good time here. And yeah, it just went from full HP down to basically no HP in a couple of volleys, and down the thing goes. I would have actually loved for it to have gotten closer to our lines, but well. The terracotta sentinels, after all, are made to fight these giant units like that, because they have their magical attacks and their massive melee attack, as well as their incredibly large amount of HP. But oh well, not a big deal. The enemy continues marching forward, and we will continue not using fire rain rockets or damaging spells at all. We will only use buffs and debuffs so that our units can actually fight. Ooh, nice blow from that terracotta sentinel. It does look like the Cathay destroyer is still alive, though by the looks of it, not for much longer. Down it will go. Right? It's dead. I'm pretty sure it's dead. Yeah, okay, it's just dissipating. I thought the armor would have collapsed a little bit earlier, but it's taking its sweet time. Anyway, while the armor is collapsing, we're getting some fantastic shots of the enemy trying to make its way through the dual walls of fire here, but they are making it through slowly but surely, or maybe not so slowly in the case of the Wolf Raiders, but we have plenty of defenders. Everybody's buffed up in various ways. We're basically immune to magics, 108 spell resistance, so the enemy can't do anything to us, and that's another reason why we're free to not bother using spells. They can't use spells, and thus we don't even need to. Alrighty, Celestial Dragon Guard against Chaos Dwarf Warriors should definitely go in our favor. Looks like a few of the Hobgoblins are getting through, but they are getting gunned down by the Crane Gunners as well. And of course, the crossbows will continue firing over the lines and into those enemies. And beautiful. And once again, I just love to hear those drummers drumming away. In the meantime, we have the dragons arriving back into the fray to lead the rest of the army. They've had a little bit of fun in the sky, knocking out a couple of Tauruses and I think one of the enemy lords. And we should be able to knock, I think, this lord out of the sky as well. There we go, well, or at least the cannons will knock him out of the sky. And away he goes. Now the enemy will have to contend with all three dragons, plus the Jade Sentinel here, all at the same time. And the enemy lord falls, and the arrows continue arcing overhead, or bolts continue arcing overhead, and the dragons start moving forward. There we go. This is just disgusting. It looks like because of the choke point, the enemy has absolutely no chance. But isn't it lovely to see all three dragon siblings fighting together? Well, glorious shots of these three. Alrighty, too bad that there was no... but hey, there's all that zoomies. They look like they have a lot of fun in their dragon forms, don't they? It's just sort of like, I don't know. They seem like they're enjoying themselves a lot more than certain models do. There we go, look at that. All working together. This is not a place you want to be in, is it? Under all of this death zoomies. I love the way that because of the way that the models spin, it's almost like they're sort of spinning around each other, like they all have sync animations together, even though it is unintentional, it almost looks intentional. And I got completely distracted with what was happening, and I lost my train of thought, rather, but not that it matters. The enemy is completely failing to get through our lines here. Looks like they did manage to sort of catch one of the Astromancers, but they'll just get ripped apart by all those crossbow bolts. We've actually moved most of our melee units back into a single line, and even moved our units of various types of constructs back as well. Now we're just gonna let the dragons play a little bit more until the battle is over, because, well, let's face it, the enemy has absolutely no chance here. The bounce power is about 85% in our favor already, and the enemy's just plain failed to get through this choke point. I can't believe we got a choke point battle here. And we didn't even need to apply our fire rain rockets. I actually withdrew 2 extra fire rain rockets that we had in Miao Ying's army so that they wouldn't contribute to the battle, because I think this is more fun. Anyway, the dragons continue moving forward. At this point, I believe I'm not in range with most of, well, maybe a few of the range units, but, well, hopefully we'll be out of range soon, and the dragons can take care of the rest. The army has already shown its mettle for some time, even before the dragons arrived as well. Alrighty, looks like Miao Ying has moved forward a little bit while these two are falling a little bit behind, but that's okay. Time to transform them back into their mortal form. Well, mortal forms isn't quite right. Human forms, I guess. And I'd like to see them fight together a little bit in this form rather than dragon form. Alright, all together now. Oh damn, I hadn't seen that animation before. The one where Zhao Ming picks an enemy up like that and slams them back down to the ground with a fire blast sort of thing. That is a pretty neat one. I'm glad that I just saw it now. It reminds me of Valkyria's animation, which is one of my favorite sync animations in the game. Especially since you can get that execution animation against enemy lords, which is just fantastic. Heck of a way to die. Alrighty, and it looks like, well, speaking of a heck of a way to die, it looks like the Chaos Dwarfs are just having an atrocious time. We don't need the rest of the army anymore, and I do believe the battle is pretty much ours. Talons of the Night, there's a firewall, a Dragon's Breath coming in. I think it is dual Talons of the Night, or Talons of Night, whatever, coming down as well from both Yuan and from Miao Ying. And just like that, the enemy army will shatter, and the battle will be ours. Heck of a long battle as well, but I think we got plenty of great shots for everybody. Alright, well, we can chase the enemy down. Oh, that looked very painful. Oh, I like how those swords that Zhao Ming likes to summon basically came out of nowhere with his attack there. Beautiful. Huh. Alright, so I noticed that Yuan Bo is of a size with them now, so he is much bigger on the campaign map, but yeah, I guess it looks like that is because he is their lord. Or the leader of the faction. I didn't know that they made the faction leader model bigger than other lords, but I guess that is the case. Anyway, battle is over. They're going to do a little bit more chasing just because they can, but we don't really need to, because we'll see plenty more enemies getting destroyed with the rest of the battles. Still, I expect that was by far the largest battle that, well, not only we've had through the campaign, but we will have. So, if nothing else, you can call this the finale battle, then we'll try to get a few more fun ones out of the way before the campaign ends. Alrighty, well there we go, horrifyingly effective. I think the 3 dragons absolutely obliterated all Chaos Dwarfs that decided to stand against them. Otherwise, can't say I was expecting a choke point battle, which made it even more hilariously effective from our side, despite the, a lack of artillery, in that we did not use those fire rain rockets. Imagine what would have happened to the enemy army if the fire rain rockets had been firing into the choke point. But to be fair, I mean, we did destroy, or lightning strike, or whatever we want to call it, blitz, I don't know, the enemy zone artillery, their Dreadquake, so I guess it was only fair that we didn't use ours. I got plenty of kills and damage on the Celestial Dragon crossbows, 18k, 16k, 24k, very respectable on Yuan's bows. All of the Dragon Lords got around 350, around 500, and 400 kills, so respectable all over the place. 37k damage, 29k damage, and 29/30k damage. And very, very nice. And it looks like a UN, while not leading in kills, did lead in damage, so and good job to him. We also got very respectable values on this unit of Crane Gunners as well, so good job to it. And I do think that the and Jade Sentinel Green Guardian, the unit that I can never remember the name of, with that missile aura that it has, the thing that sends enemy missiles back, missile reflection, also came in really handy, especially when we rushed that first army. Anyway, a lovely little fight. We're going to, I guess, heal up, because why wouldn't we? And these armies, while not destroyed, should most definitely not be much of a threat. Then we have Mr. Gorth the Cruel to contend with. I guess the question is, can anybody here reach him? Celestial Silk Rub, oh wow, that's actually a nice item. Would have been nice to have that earlier. Well, I think it's our second one, but anyway. Somebody got a Wuxing War Compass, but I don't think it's one of these guys. Pretty sure they were all always on compasses because they were all at reasonably high levels. Anyway, Yuan can in fact reach Gorthy, and they can all reach Gorthy, but I suppose they're not really all needed to fight him. And considering that Gorth is the leader of the faction, and we should probably have... Ooh, block army, yes. We should probably have him fight Yuan, and I will also block him. Now, this might actually be a more reasonably tough battle if we don't end up using the rest of these, because there will be a little bit of reinforcements coming, and then all those skullcrackers to deal with, and our Celestial Guard obviously extremely vulnerable to their fire. So, in that light, let's level up and then let's head on into it. And what can we use out of this stuff? Comet of Cassandora, we could go for the Jade Shield just in case. You know what, let's go double up on Jade Shield, I think, for his last 2 points. Yeah, we could get more armor, more speed, or... Ooh, well, more speed is also tempting, but I think emergency Jade Shields for units against the massed fire from those artillery pieces should come in handy. You guys don't actually need your points assigned, I believe. I think none of you do. You should all be maxed out, and therefore we don't need to deal with you. Alrighty, UN, attack. And let's see what we got here. Pyrrhic Victory. Looks like the Garrison Reinforcements card coming in, but, well, we essentially don't even count them as existing. As mean as that sounds, because, well, I mean, they're down to 10% of their units and should just be a non-entity here. Though, a Hell Cannon with 1 HP is just as dangerous as a Hell Cannon with 3,957 HP, so we'll at least have to watch out for that one, but the rest are inconsequential. Anyway, Pyrrhic Victory, here we go, Gorth versus Yuan, the final showdown. Probably not the last battle of the campaign, because we got a few more to fight, but, well, and the final important one for Yuan Bo.
It is not merely by my birthright that I rule, but my diligence, capability, and force of arms. I trust none other than you, the chosen of Cathay, to stand by my side against these foes.
Alright, that's not a bad speech. I trust none other than you to stand by my side to his warriors. It's nice to be appreciated. Anyway, here we go. Round 2 with the forces surrounding surrounding Jarna Grundon, led by Gord the Cruel himself. Not only that, but whereas the previous battle with the 3 dragon siblings together was the biggest battle of the campaign, I imagine that this will be the toughest. Here's the thing, even a single Dreadquake mortar train is most definitely a threat, and they have so many. So our Celestial Dragon Guard can probably take like 1 or maybe 2 shots from a Dreadquake before they are destroyed, and they are far too slow to dodge these projectiles, and I'm disinclined to even try dodging their projectiles in the way that the AI does it. So we're going to have to deal with it. We are, however, going to try to rush the enemy and destroy as many of these Dreadquakes as we can with our monsters before the Celestial Dragon Guard are in range, which will frankly happen any second. In fact, they're already in range, but that's okay. Break apart these damn trains. We are going to do our best to reduce their armor with the Plague of Rust, and then pop the final transmutation on them, while Yuan Bo does his spins to win, and the rest of the monsters follow suit. And that said, it's not all going our way. Lionel Johnson here is down to nearly half HP, and we'll have to be careful about him. Glittering Robe gonna pop up just to try to 231 armor, try to keep him alive against that Bale Taurus. We also have our Star Dragons moving in, and as soon as the other Dreadquakes start focusing our Celestial Dragon Guard, we will be sending the Star Dragons to distract them, to hopefully prevent them from continuing to fire. And whether that works out, I guess, remains to be seen. Alrighty, the Jade Guardian, Green Sentinel, damn it. It's, yeah, I just can't. The Jade Sentinel is in, and there we go. Looks like one of the trains do get finally brought down, but we still have at least a couple more here. They are wasting shots here, unfortunately, by the looks of it, our Astromancers, but the others have begun to fire on our Celestial Dragon Guard, and, well, I'm willing to bet that this is going to hurt. So this unit is currently at full HP. Let's see what happens to it after it gets struck by all of these Dreadquake mortars. Ooh, and those were some nice shots, basically all hitting the unit, and this unit is done. Well, actually, it has... so it's down to less than 10% of its HP. However, it has kept, well, not quite half of its units, but nearly half. So as long as the unit survives the battle, it'll actually heal up to around half HP. So we gotta make sure of that. But yeah, we have a few more of those shots, and if the enemy had been smart enough to spread the shots to various of our units, that would have been, well, that would have been a lot more ugly. On the bright side, the Star Dragons have landed, so hopefully they'll be able to distract at least a couple of the enemy mortars. Though it's hard to say, it might actually be that the mortars are able to fire just fine, and despite being attacked, but at the very least that one is certainly firing. Well, let's see whether this one can fire as well. But obviously they're not going to have a great time against Star Dragons unless all the other units surrounding them can help. On the bright side, it looks like the other constructs have managed to destroy the rest of the Dreadquakes that were up here, and we are now going to move the Lions away because they are much faster than the Jade Sentinel, moving at 103 to 98 speed to try to join these guys and help against the other mortars, while the Jade Sentinel and Yuan Bo together continue to fight. Looks like the Dreadquake mortars are still firing, so that's going to be an issue. There we go. 2 more falling stars about to hit our Celestial Dragon warriors. I do like to see Yuan Bo fight together with the Jade Sentinel here. It feels appropriate, doesn't it? It feels like, I don't know, he's controlling it directly with his Jade magics. Plus, you gotta love this thing doing its attacks. The stark contrast against the fiery Chaos Dwarf units. makes for a heck of a show. Anyway, how are we doing here? There's a Cathay Fireborn trying to attack Yuan, but not for much longer, as it's going to explode and dissipate, and it looks like these guys will be free to do their own thing shortly. Otherwise, it looks like our Dune Dragons are still alive, and 4 of the other units of Celestial Dragon Guard have more or less made it. This one's at half HP and will probably drop further. 2 are basically destroyed and are backing up, but we're nearing the ability to move into the fray and thus not get hit by too many of those shots. Ooh, there we go. The Iron Demon's still firing its close-range carronades. Wait, it's cannonades. Carronades are a different thing. Oh well, it's okay. We've got our own forms of artillery as our 2 units of Astromancers bring their free Comets of Cassandora down on these Goblin Laborers and Chaos Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, essentially destroying them both and costing us no mana. Looks like another one of the enemy units of Iron... no, I think this was a Skullcracker, actually. Skullcracker Dreadquakes has been destroyed, and it looks like our Star Dragon, at the very least, is quite happy about the situation, and it's only a few more of those left. Looks like the Fireglaves are getting absolutely ripped apart by the Jade Sentinel here as well. And while we did have a few scary moments against Fireglaves in the past, that is not so now that we have much more elite units. Since that time, there we go. Well done to the Jade Sentinel, and it is Jade superiority here as Yuan Bo fights Gord the Cruel up in the sky. And brings the Executioner's sword down on him as well. X marks the spot, and down goes Gorthy. Lovely. Alrighty, well, personally defeated by Yuan, which is one of the things I wanted for this particular battle, and I think with the death of Gord the Cruel, the enemy army begins to rout and shatter. Of course, there's still a couple of Iron Demons to destroy because they're unbreakable, but now that should go by pretty darn quickly. And a 1 and a 2, and I believe that was the last one. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Of course, the enemy is outside a settlement and will not be destroyed here, so we do want to do at least a little bit more damage to them. So we'll do a little bit of chasing. And oh, actually, the enemy army has not quite been destroyed. There is still a Hell Cannon here. And, well, 1 hit from Yuan, and it goes down to, well, 1 hit left. And I wanted to try something. Ouch, that looked very painful for that artillery crew. I wanted to see whether the Executioner's Blade, X marks the spot ability, whatever, would kill off more than one of those units, but it doesn't appear to do so, which is a shame. Not that it's a big deal, of course, I just wanted a little bit of extra damage to knock that Hell Cannon out of commission, and knocked out of commission it was. Alrighty, with that the battle is over, and we're just gonna give a little bit of a quick chase, though as we can see, those Dreadquake mortars certainly did a number on quite a few units, and because we had to charge in as quickly as possible, and the various lions were more or less unsupported. Looks like Vice Minister Snoofles here was the more or less okay one. The rest were all below half HP, but, well, hardly surprising. One of the Star Dragons got pretty badly hurt as well, and obviously, the poor Celestial Dragon Guard. Hey, even the Jade Sentinel took a decent amount of damage. I don't think anybody's done this much damage to Yuan's army since... I'm not sure ever throughout the campaign, so it was certainly a toughie. You gotta watch out for those trains or they'll do a number on you. Or at the very least when you have a fairly infantry-heavy force. And yeah, obviously we could have just kept the infantry completely back and destroyed the enemy artillery with only our monsters and not cared about them at all. But I feel like that would have felt a little bit cheap, maybe, and I wanted to make sure that it was sort of a more real battle. Anyway, there we go, a Pyrrhic victory, and we certainly took some damage, so you know what, Gorth? You earned it. Well done with your last stand, buddy. We keep getting great items long after we no longer need them. Oh, game. Anyway, pretty fun battle. In fact, I'm glad that we ended up fighting it that way instead of via the siege, because it made it more difficult. We got a Pyrrhic victory. Those Dreadquake mortar trains are scary, and 6 Dreadquake mortars trains is a lot in an army. I feel like in my Zatan campaign, even having taken over, I want to say, like half of the world, I only ended up ever building, I think, 5 Dreadquake trains in the biggest pile of train armies, because they're just that obnoxious and just are hilariously effective against infantry, similar to our fire rain rockets, but even more effective against the blobs, and a lot harder to kill at that. And especially with the train attachments, they can also do stuff in more close combat. But anyway, we still managed to pull it off despite the horrendous damage a few of our Celestial Dragon Guard units suffered, though of course those ones that didn't lose a lot of models and only HP at least have recovered. We're gonna heal up as best we can, which is really basically nothing, but take it anyway. A little bit of a shame that we can't heal up further, but oh well, not a big deal. Alrighty, City Administrator. Well, great, though you're a little bit late for administrating cities, I think. You are going to deal with this in a second, Yuan. I just want to make sure that we do a few other things. Jiao Ming and Miao Ying. You should be able to reach all these armies and destroy them. There's no need to fight that, which will leave Jiao Ming to auto-resolve the rest of this to death. You do this, and nobody will die. I would like to see the Great Long... Well, then again, we have seen the Longma Riders fight throughout the campaign. Not so much in this army, but fundamentally this army is very similar to Yuan Bo's. It just has the Longma Riders instead of the Lions. Otherwise, it's quite similar. Well, other than the Fire Rain rockets, but yeah, we'll see if we can send you through a drill to get into a fight somewhere, because obviously this was not worth a fight. Let's go for, I guess, tiny amounts of heals as well. Scroll of Blast, Miao Ying, destroy the remnants of these forces, and I do believe there's a drill close by. There should still be at least a few enemies remaining out there somewhere. Alrighty, no problem, don't want these guys. And the Brass Cleaver, wow, all of the great items. And it looks like Gondred here will probably take the Veil of Woe for us, which means we won't have to deal with it ourselves. Let's auto-resolve. Oh, there's one guy left, okay. We still managed to lose 7. And then anyway, we'll occupy the place just as a monument to our victory here. Now, we can actually build something here. Winds of Magic Power Reserve Capacity, all armies, research rate, character experience gain, plus 5%. Oh, maybe I should have actually went out of my way and taken this earlier in the campaign, I mean. Not a big deal, of course, but, you know, just for fun. Anyway, you can... I don't know why I'm bothering to build buildings here, just because I can, I guess. Anyway, you 3 are now fine and can sit here and heal up more or less. Oh, wow, Jiao Ming, you can still move. Alright, well then move closer to Veil of Woe, and just in case you can't take it. This will also leave Long Yuan to heal. I should have actually not bothered moving to Shay and left her wherever she was over here, so that she could have healed up, but oh well, not a big deal. Anyway, now that you guys' main armies have fought, or main battles have been fought, we'll want to move Dingjun in and camp stance right to the edge of this territory, in the hopes that Villatreska Hackpile goes for him. I will also then back off Min Juanson because... yeah... I'd rather... Oh, you're gonna suffer attrition here. Well, actually, you won't hear, so... yeah. We're gonna back off Min Juanson off because if Villatreska goes for Temple of Heimkel, I'd rather than attack with Dingjun, because this is an army that we want to try to have a final battle with, whereas this is just a random pile of troops that was formed out of another random pile of troops, so... yeah. Anyway, Jishu, you are going to try to hunt down Archaon, though your army, to be frank, is not ideal for fighting Archaon himself. We'll see if he tries to hole up in Prague with multiple armies, because if he does, we'll need both of these armies together to take it, rather than Jishu's alone, but we'll see. You're not able to go into ambush, are you? No. I was thinking maybe we could fool him into trying to go and attack Volksgrad, but oh well. Anyway, you two still need your fights, and we will want to maybe try to send the gunnery army to do a thing.
Magistrates reporting.
And that's about it. Oh, and then we sent the flying army through the drill in the hopes of hunting somebody else down. Alrighty, everybody's where they are supposed to be. How many turns does it take to travel through the drill, incidentally? Where are we here? It's only one turn. Alright, so we should be there shortly. With that, I believe we're ready to end the turn and hope we can get ourselves another battle going. So skip, and turn. I hope I didn't forget anything, and I really hope that the Oracles of Tzeentch do not take this opportunity to stop our faction in its tracks. Imric, what you want? You want a defensive alliance. Now, a little bit late for that, friendo. We have Star Dragons of our own without your, without any need of your help. And the main reason I never ended up allying with Imric, because he doesn't happen to like Goldtooth, because Goldtooth has those camps that keep raiding his territory, and I figured we probably shouldn't risk getting into a war. And there it is, victory, ultimate campaign victory. There we go, folks. Sorry, no more battles, I guess, this episode, because the game is... No, I'm kidding. This happens when you take all the territory, the 3 territories of Zharna Grund over, so there we go. Region, well, I guess this is the only time we'll get to see this, we won't be able to see it later, might as well. We have I think, a fairly strong position in the end of this campaign at turn 104. We are basically completely safe from attack with a massive pile of ogres between us and anybody else, and then a pile of dwarfs, elves, more dwarfs, and more ogres between anybody else here, and then a pile of ruins over the bastion. And yet, if we wanted to, if other enemies hadn't already been destroyed by our allies, for example, if they were still around the Lustria portions that we took over, we could just head out of Cathay and into the sea lanes and attack whoever we please. But basically, we're suffering from success here. We've basically destroyed almost all enemies. Kairos is still alive, but we've forced him into so many fights that he'll be destroyed shortly. Nagorond has been defeated, and really Archaon's probably the only thing that remains on the field, and we're going to hope to hunt him down. Continue campaign. Speaking of Archaon, not near enough to Jishu, unfortunately, and he wanted to suffer treasure. What are you doing, Archaon? And it looks like Villatreska Hackbile did not want to go for Dingjun. What are you doing? Why? Please don't run. Okay, we're gonna move closer in the hope that if that happens, and then Min, you are going to sit here, and we're gonna hope that Olaf attacks you. How are we going to get Archaon? Alright, I guess the only real decent option here is going to be to try to go into an ambush stance and hope that Archaon gets fooled. I mean, I feel like if we move here, Talogast might run... Oh, we'll never catch Talogast. He has three of Kasteltan's armies around him. I still do want Jishu to get at least one more battle going, so we gotta find somebody. Then, we've moved to the drill, and I forgot which drill I sent... I sent our flying army through. Oh, you are here. Now, which drill do we send you through? This one. This is the one we want to go to, because that's a guaranteed fight. So, that one's over. Oh, it's a little bit far. There are a few others, though. There was this one up here, and where are you going? Where? Could he be going to the Underworld Sea Lane to go after us? Ah, well, that's very interesting. That will take him over here. Huh, I wasn't expecting that. We may want to send the Lion Army this way just in case. Go to Port Reaver. And we could send Admiral Shu Kang, but you know what? He got a decent amount of fights. The Lion Army only got one fight, so we'll try the Lions. I'd like to see how they fare against the Chaos Dwarf full armies. Alright, I guess then, Hongluo, we're gonna send you... You know what, here's what we'll do. We'll send Touche this way, and we'll send Hongluo up north through this one. Where does this one go? Oh, this one goes here. All right, we'll send Miao Ying there. I don't think she'll have anything to do because it looks like that guy's going for the other place, but it's not a big deal. And, thanks for the help, I guess, Greases. Honglo, you are sitting... You know what? Yuan Bo, you can just administrate from Zharna Grund. Your time is done in the sense that you will no longer need to fight anybody. Does this go anywhere interesting? Ah, yeah, so you know what? We'll send Jiao Ming down there. I don't know whether there's anybody over there, but, you know, why not? Or we could send Long Yuan down there. Well, no, you know what? I think I'd rather send Jiao Ming. He hasn't had as much playtime either. Alright, so you try to head down here. Alright, a little bit of admin as we actually try to find the fights. Archaon is just scared at this point, which is something of an annoyance, but what can you do? You're gonna move out here. This goes where again? Wait, I thought I was already sending one army there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're good. Everybody's heading off to a drill, and even if there are armies that have spawned that we missed, like here, we should be able to take them. Though it looks like there isn't one here, because I think if there was, Camry would have lost its stuff. And it looks like the invasion has begun. Poor Kairos. He really shouldn't have screwed with us by betraying us and, well, betraying. Technically, he didn't declare war on us, but just cancelled his agreements. But he shouldn't have done that anyway, and because now we're using the lizards to destroy him completely. Anyway, I guess with that, we're gonna end the turn yet again, and then hope that one of these battles occurs. So skip, and turn. Alright, come on, Jishu and Dingjun. One of you. And get a battle going. You better not run, Villatresca. Krokgar, what you want? You want us to join war against the Rapturous Excess. I don't... Why would... I'm actually shocked that they're alive. They're the ones that are in the southern Chaos Wastes right beside Kairos. Well, good for them, I guess. Alright, and Warhost the Apocalypse. You are running from Dingjun. Are you kidding me? Oh, game, why? Why would you do this? And, damn, our ambush broke, which means Jishu will not be... Ooh, Archaon's recovered, though, and he's got another army here, but Prague is, well, reasonably well defended. Lord of Yin and Yang. Jishu's army isn't really ideal for taking settlements like this, though. Huh. And we want to actually get this as a field battle. Stay in ambush stance. We'll try to hunt the other two. Warherd of the Shadow Gate has been destroyed. And, there we go. Dingjun can get in battle against this guy. And, this guy will probably try to attack us as soon as we do. But it's okay. We have men here. Alrighty. Well, that does mean another battle we're ready for. And it's the cavalry army. Should be a fun time. Does Frozen Landing have a defensive structure? No. Which means it's a field battle, which should be ideal for the cavalry. Here we go. That's Sky Junks, the mobile army. Alrighty, and you have magical attacks already, so you have no need of the Lichbone Pennant. Let's give it to, let's say, one of the Demigryph Knights. Demigryph Knights, Warbear Riders, Sky Junks, lots and lots of Jade Lancers, though they're pretty weak in terms of stats. They're a tier 2 after all, but, you know, they make up the bulk of this army, so that it seems a little bit more fair. Oh, I love the gold armor and the cape with the very colorful nature of the great longbow. Anyway, let's see what we're facing up against here. Plenty of Marauder champions with great weapons. Nice. I would think that these guys would defeat Jade Lancers in a pitched fight quite easily. Which should be interesting, because, well, obviously these guys don't have much in the way of armor piercing, and these guys with their great weapons do, and 50 weapon strength with 100 units, whereas these guys have only 36 weapon strength with 60 units, so massive disparity in unit quality. Nonetheless...
You are the backbone of Grand Cathay, the true bastion of this country. Show our enemy that Cathay's soldiers are to be feared.
Alrighty, well, you would think that they would know to fear Cathayan soldiers by now. If they don't, well, they're probably never going to learn. Anyway, here we go, our cavalry army. A little bit memey, but I'm sure we can make it work, as, well, I do like my random variety armies. We're gonna start the battle off, obviously, by annoying the enemy as best we can with our sky junks, and even though they're getting plenty of splash hits into the various types of marauders, we're actually trying to focus it down specifically at the enemy marauder hunters and anything that can hit the limited number of range units that we have. In the meantime, Dingjin himself will come down to face off against Hjalmar the Terror, the enemy skin wolf werekin, and we'll see who can best who. Stat-wise, it looks like we're buffed pretty nicely, especially with that harmonic convergence on Dingjin here. I'd also like to see his celestial sweep ability when the enemy mobs of units come down, but for now, he'll face off against the werekin, and against the enemy lord as well. Alright, see him whack away with those big ol' hammer blows, and it looks like the enemy hero is down to about half HP. I'd also love to see the Demigryphs, the Warbear Riders, and the Jade Lancers do their thing, so we can look away at least for a little bit. Up over here, we have some enemy skin wolves getting caught by the jet line, as well as the Demigryph Knights, and then the Jade Lancers hitting them in the back. Our goal, obviously, to isolate as many of the enemy units as we possibly can. It looks like the skin wolf is pretty much done, and now it's on to the Marauder Chieftain. If we can catch him. Alrighty, not that it's a big deal because we do have support coming in from our units of sky junks, and we do have the mobility to pull this one off. As we can see, the enemy army is essentially being forced to fight on the flanks here. We've separated all of our cavalry into essentially two sides where they're fighting, whereas the center basically has nothing. Center's just getting ripped apart by our sky junks, and the enemy hero and lord are getting hunted by Dingjun himself. Alright. Working reasonably well so far, I think. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of of this color scheme on the Demigryph Knights, though. I'm mad about it. I wish their barding was a little bit more of the greenish, like the jade stuff. If it had the same color scheme exactly like this rather than the yellowish barding, they would look so much better. And like they match with us, because, for example, the Warbear Riders certainly look like they could match, and they could certainly fit in with the Jade Lancers to some degree. Alright, and Urnon's Thunderbolt coming down, still getting plenty of support from our Sky Junks. Our Jade Longmas are also, or Great Longmas, also flying around, though they're not actually trying to do too much in the way of damage, so much as prevent the enemy range units from dealing with our Sky Junks, and also trying to chase down that Lord at the current time. Otherwise, the bounce power is about 70% in our favor. We're continuing to isolate enemy units and destroy them, and then send the Jade Lancers after them, while the Warbear Riders and the Demigryph Knights and the two Lions continue to do more direct damage. Still a massive pile of units left here, but they're still going to have a very difficult time in dealing with our borrowed units. And I do feel like we needed these, because Cathay lacks monstrous infantry. It's very nice to be able to get them from Kislev as well as the Empire. Anyway, with that, it looks like the enemy army is done for much quicker than I was expecting, to be perfectly honest, but I guess this is one of those armies that, sort of like a glass cannon army, right? Like they charge in, and with all their charge bonuses are going to do quite a bit of damage. And 6150, not too bad. And either they get ripped apart or the enemy force gets ripped apart. Of course, there's probably bound to be at least a little bit of guerrilla tactics and or hit and run tactics specifically. But in this particular case, it wasn't really needed because the enemy essentially played into our hands, allowing the Sky Junks to destroy the center of the enemy formation, while the two flanks were destroyed by the mobile units of cavalry surrounding and ripping isolated units apart, which is fantastic. Anyway, let's speed it up while we chase the enemy down. I guess, well, wait, when I was playing this, I forgot that we don't actually need to, because this is technically a settlement battle. There we go. Eventually, I realized that, guys, I'm a little slow. Alrighty, very nice, very nice. I accidentally... my bad, I accidentally clicked the, past the Yuan screen in terms of looking at the kills, but the kills were fairly even across the board. I was originally thinking that the Warbear Riders and the Demigryph Knights would have done the majority of the heavy lifting, but it wasn't so. The Jade Lancers did keep up in terms of sheer number of kills, most likely due to the number of entities that they have. Plenty of kills on the Sky Junks as well, and yeah, everybody did fantastic. Well done. This army, well, sort of a meme army, but it actually worked out way better than I was thinking that it might. Though I do have to wonder how it would be able to deal with Uncle for Uncle and with the Severed Claw, both of which are extremely tough couple of units. But we'll see if Latruska tries to attack us, though we are now hurt. I guess the question is, do we move men nearby? You know what? I don't think we do. I think we don't collect the income. I think we just keep men out here in the hopes that this means that we can go here instead. And you know what? We'll move men this way instead, because maybe this way Archaon might be takeable with these two armies rather than waiting for Dingjun to come in. I also like to see what Talogast is gonna do, but what are you doing? What are you doing, Castelton? Why did you confederate Kislev if you're just gonna sit around with 4 armies while this guy just runs rampant through your territories with one, and not a particularly strong one? That's that, mostly because it has way too many single entities and weaker units, barely an infantry line. Anyway, let's send another turn in a second. I just gotta send everybody to the drills that they were heading off to. Touche, you're going through this one. Jiaming, you're going through that one. Yes, go through drill, please. I don't know if keeping them in march stance was the right decision, but let's hope that it was. Long Yuan, you go through this one, and Miao Ying, you can go through that one as well. I hope the two characters can traverse the same rift at once. Yeah, you've entered the rift. Actually, I would like to see... he's not actually going through this. Damn, oh, don't tell me we're gonna have to chase this guy around in the sea. That would be kind of annoying. Alright, well, you know what? Miao Ying, you're gonna go through... Ow, I was about to say go through that rift, but that... well, if there's 2 of you needed to chase, then maybe we'll send both of you this way. Yuan, just stay here. A little bizarre set of circumstances. I do wonder how strong the... where are you now? How strong this faction is. Oh, they won't do any, they won't do any... Is it under Chaos Dwarfs or is it under Dowie Jar? Oh, it's under Chaos Dwarfs. Alrighty, well, the faction looks weak, but clearly they have at least 1 or 2 armies still around, and this one is going to be... Oh, look at that, they're building a new one. Cute. Tremendously cute. Well, hopefully we'll deal with that shortly, with Miao Ying or with Hong Luo. I guess now we can end the turn and see if anything interesting happens. I'm just wondering whether we should force a war declaration on anybody, but I think we're okay. Let's switch the compass. I feel like we don't actually need the Great Bastion anymore. I'm just double checking what all this does now. If there's anything... Oh, we could do the attrition reduction. Maybe that would be better. Then, although the casualty replenishment rate is great. But it's only in Cathay-owned regions. You know what? I think for this one, we're going to switch to Dragon River for the casualty replenishment reduction. Or not the casualty or punishment reduction, the attrition reduction, rather. This should make us effectively immune to attrition while we hunt down and those other armies. Anyway, with that, we can skip the rest of this and end the turn. Obviously skipping all of the admin, such as it is. Let's see if Archaon is willing to fight Jishu. What the heck are these guys doing? Go after Talogast. I can see why the AI has a tendency to fail, because this is just hilariously bad.
So,
Alright, military alliance for Marcus. No. Still no, Marcus. Sorry, buddy, but, well, we can't. And, okay, looks like Archaon did not go after Jishu. Oh, no, he's going after these guys? You gotta be kidding me. Can we reach either one of his armies from here? No, we cannot. Well, that's annoying. Alright, how are we gonna do this? Alright, wait, this army is here. Can't reach you with this one. Dingjun can reach you. We might be able to force you into a battle with his army, but that's not what I was looking for in this particular case. Or wait. You know, there's a decent likelihood that we won't be able to catch Archaon because he'll be destroyed next turn. However, well, actually it depends on how these guys move. While we cannot do anything about this, what we can do is we can force Villatresca into a fight with Jishu by doing this, because they will come in as a reinforcement to that army. Fantastic. At least this way we guarantee at least one final fight for Jishu here. Let's put the Banner Eternal Flame on you. We'll fight this in a second, including Villatresca's army. And frankly, Jishu's probably better positioned to take that army on anyway. The other thing that we want to see... Alright, first of all, Touche, yeah, there's nobody here. It's okay, you've already... You had a fight. Alright, well, since there is no enemy army here, you can go back through the drill from whence you came. Let's see about anywhere else. First of all... Oh, we're still traversing this drill, unfortunately. Wait, Gorthan the Cruel has returned. That's kind of funny. I wasn't expecting that. Where the heck did I send... Ah, here we go. Along Yuan, you have arrived. We need to chase this guy down. He's going... Man, where is he going? Huh. Okay, well, either way, Long Yuan, try to chase him down. In fact, maybe it would be better to travel by land until you reach this. We may have to send somebody around. I don't want to spend like 10 episodes, well, 10 episodes, a long time chasing this guy down. Dingjun, stay here for one more turn, and if this guy keeps going this way, we'll go after him as well. Miao Ying, you're gonna head this way. Like so, and Hong Luo, I guess you're gonna do the same, or possibly even go up this way, I haven't decided. I guess it's not super important. Jiao Ming, you're going this way, but you can't reach it right now, which means you're the only one that could move, which means, Jishu, it's time for you to get your possibly final fight of the campaign. Here we go.
Dragons are watching us! In battle, we shall demonstrate our reverence!
Alrighty, here we go, Jishu. We could not end the campaign without you getting at least one more fight. She has been an absolute star throughout this campaign and has cemented her status as one of the, essentially, legends of the various campaigns, as in one of the heroes whose names I'm going to remember and keep in a little file for recurring in other campaigns, with the various legends of other campaigns as well. Alrighty, well, regardless of that, our favorite dragon-blooded Shugengan has not much to do against the first little army, because it is the second army full of Chaos Warriors that is the real force here. Although I guess we can catch at least a few of these poor... Oh, they tried to run and they just failed. I'm laughing. Those poor Marauder horses. It looks like not a one escaped. They all got gunned down and hit by the two Arcane Phoenixes and by and by Jishu as well. And once again, I am so happy about the color scheme of the Arcane Phoenixes working with that of the Great Longmas. It's really working for me. Anyway, that wasn't really a battle, just a little bit of a warm-up while we wait for the main enemy host to arrive and get ourselves into position as well. All the way back here probably wouldn't have worked because it would have been difficult for the crane gunners to fire, so we're going to move them forward and hopefully get into a slightly better position. We also don't want these guys coming back as they have not shattered yet. We're going to hit them a few times until they do. I may have selected the wrong unit. Yeah, I accidentally selected this one rather than this one. Alright, there we go. I'm just gonna make sure you shatter. I mean, we gotta watch something while we wait for the main enemy army to arrive. Alrighty. I like to think that Jishu is like the apprentice of the Fire Dragon, who... I'm actually surprised that the Jade Dragon was their choice rather than the Fire Dragon, but oh well. Not that I have anything against Yuan Bo, mind you. But yeah, as I was saying, the Fire Dragon is also the Phoenix Lord or something along those lines, unless I'm mistaken, so it makes sense for his apprentice here, or disciple or whatever, to have two Phoenixes as pets, rather, right? I wonder if they'll add the Sea Dragon or the Fire Dragon. I feel like the Sea Dragon makes more sense in terms of the ease with which we can, the ease with which they can add a faction, because you can essentially put her anywhere and all over the map, because you can just say, well, it's an expedition, you know what I mean? Whereas the Fire Dragon, being the master of the burning winds, is kind of stuck in the south. But if they ever add, if they add Ind and Kuresh and whatever, all those regions that are south of Cathay that the Burning Winds would normally be fighting, then it would make a lot more sense to add the Fire Dragon there. Anyway, I digress, as I tend to do, though not for much longer, as the campaign is nearly over. The Chaos Army has arrived, and we've got a fair few scary units here. Dragon Ogres, Uncle Furuncle, and of course the Severed Claw, which are always such a hassle to deal with. And we're going to try our best to soften up those targets before they get to us. And we're really going to need to rely on that. And because obviously we have basically no units of melee in this army other than the 3 lions, so we're completely reliant on damaging the enemy army and before it gets to us. Fortunately, this army does do fairly well at it, and of course all of our units do fire damage, so if the enemy gets closer, they will be even more susceptible to our damage because of the fire weaknesses applied. And even the crane gunners are doing the fire damage because the Banner of the Eternal Flame is on the war drum and being applied to all of them. Anyway, the enemy still has a long way to travel to get towards us, so while plenty of their units are concerning, they're not quite concerning yet. Is this a Demon Spew? No, just, oh, they're Forsaken of Corn, yes. I was like, wait a second, those aren't normal Forsaken. And gonna get a wall of fire right behind them, but it looks like they might actually be able to outrun it. Well, good for them. They can outrun one fire, well, let's just say they're between a fire and a fireplace. No, that didn't work. They're between fire and fire, I guess. Anyway, the Iron Drakes are here. They may outrun the Wall of Fire, only to run into a different sort of Wall of Fire. And I don't think they're gonna survive this one because the Iron Drakes do so much damage. And are also shockingly good against single entities, which we will see shortly. Anyway, Iron Drake's also focusing down some of those chaos spawn, and the balance of power has actually shifted to about 80% in our favor. None of the enemy have reached our lines as yet, which is a little bit surprising, but impressive if nothing else. Uncle Furuncle is now being focused down by the crane gunners, which are pretty fantastic at single entity killing. And I fear for the enemy's ability to actually get to us. And there we go, down go that unit of Chaos Spawn. We're going to switch some of our gunners to the enemy Lord, as well as those Dragon Ogres as well. The Iron Drakes, and I love Iron Drakes. I always try to get Iron Drakes in pretty much every campaign I play, just because flamethrower units are so fun. Or, well, warp fire throwers in the situations where we ally with Skaven instead of the Imperial factions. And there we go. And those poor units of, what are you, Marauders of Slaanesh, getting absolutely toasty. And they don't like to be toasty. Anyway. Alright, the enemy Lord is moving in. We're getting a little bit of a face-up between the Dragon Ogres, Chaos Spawn, and our Lion and Phoenixes, and I believe Jishu is in there somewhere as well. And because she has Earthblood and thus can lead her her units and heal them up, the enemy Lord tries to charge the Iron Drakes, but it really doesn't work, and he goes down, and Uncle Furuncle is in the exact same position, and is, well, getting fired upon and fired by the Iron Drakes. You can't even spot the big old great unclean one in all those flames. Well, looks like the enemy Lord has disappeared. Another volley. Oh, and the cannon to the knee, and then those crane gunners, and Uncle Furuncle is done for. On the bright side, for the enemy at least, they do manage to get around us with at least a few units. We did manage to stop the Chaos Knights by charging them or countercharging them with Jishu and her monstrous units, but 2 units of Chaos Warhounds and the unit of Chaos Chariots did get around us. However, we do have the Bastion of the Great Cities on the crane gunners, as well as the Jade Shield, so 77% damage resistance. So even though this unit is getting charged, one of the reasons I wanted to Jade Shield was to be able to do this in emergencies. Alrighty, and they're just not going to kill those crane gunners this way, and we got harmonic convergence on them now as well, as soon as that Jade Shield goes down, so... Oh, enemy. You were going to do damage, but then not so much. Anyway, we can now pretty much ignore that, as the Lions will destroy those enemy units of Warhounds and such, no problem. The enemy Chaos Knights getting burned down and destroyed by the Iron Drakes, and the Arcane Phoenix takes care of the last of the enemy Chaos Spawn. With that, I do believe the battle is ours, as the army shatters, and their last hope, this flanking maneuver with their quick moving units, manages to kill only 3 crane gunners and achieve really not much. Well done to Jishu as always, but pretty much every battle of hers has been well done since... I'll get it, well done, because it's a firearm. I can't believe I haven't made that joke until now. Well, I am proud of myself for that one. Oh, alright. Seriously, great job. Alright, good job, Jishu. Alright, now I see it. Now I see why Villatresca ran from a damaged Dingjan army. I didn't think that this particular army would go down as easily as it did, which I'm normally in favor of, but not in this particular case. Slaaneshi giggle. Anyway, this army is pretty much destroyed, and that may or may not have been the final battle of the campaign. Depending on whether Archaon survives in the next few turns or not. I would love to kill him, but there's a decent chance that he will get killed by this, so in that case, we will not bother, well, looking for anybody else. The only army that did not seem to have a chance to fight was the aerial army, but to be fair, we've seen the Sky Junks do their thing, and, well, no wait, the aerial army did get a chance to fight. Never mind, I'm lying. It did get a small battle. And we've seen the sky junks just to rip everything apart below them. Alright, so then we're more or less good. Let's just see about Archaon and, of course, see about destroying this actual faction. What we should really do is try to get Nagaroth to join war against these guys, because otherwise we're going to be chasing them forever. I actually wonder who moves first, you or you? You know what?
Come in peace.
Let's give it a try. Overlords of Jarduk, minus 19. Okay, what if we join war against Harganeth? That way, if we give you 75,000 gold, and we'd be able to do it. Alright, that works for me. Do it. He could probably make good use of the 75,000. It's not like we need gold, it's the end of the game. It's just a lot of money, so I'm like, but no, it's fine. It's fine. And there we go. Let's see if these two decide to attack each other here. Ideally, we'd love a Lariel to do the same and join war against these guys, but, well, you know what, let's leave her alone for now. Maybe if this guy moves here, we will, and then maybe we won't. Anyway, with that, we can once again end the turn and see what happens to Archaon, but we should be just about done. Alright, ally mobilizes, and yeah, Archaon gets destroyed. Alright, so I'm glad I didn't bother to send Jishu this way because, well, he got caught and got himself killed again. Alrighty, so now the only thing that's left, having fought at least one battle with all of our armies, is to chase down and destroy the faction and destroy the Will of Hushut. Or foil the Will of Hushut, whatever you want to call it. Military lines decline, don't bother. Oh, I notice you're fighting Khemri. I guess everybody will start fighting Khemri shortly, more or less because Kairos will no longer be a threat. I also see the Exiles of Khorne might be down to 1 settlement? Just out of curiosity. Nagaron destroyed. Exiles of Khorne look like they're down to 1. Damn. I have never... Man, the dynamic has changed so much. I've never seen the Chevalier de Lyonesse do this well. They usually die fairly quickly. And, well, Kairos is going to get killed. Nagaron is that I've never, in my entire run of playing all the total Warhammer games, seen Archaon die. And this guy's still here, but I think he's dead. He's gonna get chased down by one of these armies. The Age of Rage. Well, I'm sure Khorne is pissed about what's been going on. Let's see if we can chase down Mr. What's your name? Karkadon. Though it looks like we won't need to. You guys just sit where you are, because you are no longer needed for now. And there is only this army remaining, to Gorth the Cruel remaining. There's really not much there, though. There's... What is this? Alright, so what I would like to do... Carl is gonna try to chase these guys, isn't he? I wonder if Gorthy could get away or not. If he could get away, I would prefer to try to get Hong Luo Mai to deal with this, even though we've seen the army fight once. But it seems more likely than not that he'll get chased down. Could we just end it by having Miao Ying destroy him? Well, I guess we still have this little army, but that's not really an army, is it? Oh, Miao Ying can't even reach Gorthy anyway. Alright, fine. Take Gorcel then. And actually, out of curiosity, if we take Gorcel, what will happen here? Alright, obviously, we're not even gonna bother. You know what? It's the end game. We could just see the Celestial Dragons do this or something. But they're just tier 1 units. They're just tier 1 units. I'm gonna quick save here just in case the game crashes or something like that. I probably should have done that throughout, but fortunately we've been lucky. Fight this. It's silly, and there's no point, but nonetheless.
The power of a dragon and the might of Nangao, we can only prevail.
Alrighty, here we go. I know I said this at the start of the campaign, but a little bit of a reverse. It's likely that this is going to be the final battle of the campaign, since it seems decently likely that Gorth's going to get caught by the Empire. So we had the biggest battle in the start of the episode, the finale battle at the start, and then the smallest battle at the end. However, we're going to, you know, make our ourselves a little bit weaker in this particular case. We're not going to use guns, we're not going to use artillery, we're not going to use the Terracotta Sentinels, and we're just going to let the Celestial Dragon crossbows shine. Though they did shine plenty in the Battle of the Three Dragons, which is my name for that fight now, since we managed to get all the siblings together. And they can shine here as well, as they'll be the only units we use, minus Miao Ying, who will, well, duel the enemy as if she can. They'll duel the enemy lords. Oh man, I love the way these guys fire. Yuan's bows. And it's just the Yuan's bows firing right now because of their pretty ridiculous range. 243 range, magical damage, and 126 missile strength. This is a very, very scary unit, and frankly, these guys don't stand much of a chance here. And these poor Chaos Dwarf warriors. And plus we have the fancy fireworks of their bolt types. Although, and I just realized this. It looks like I'm pretty sure that they use arrow and bolts. The arrow and bolts in this game are the same, as in the arrows fired by, well, archers and bowmen or whatever, are identical to those fired by the crossbows, as in, I think this is just the same animation as the Sisters of Avalorn arrows. I said looks very similar, plus a little bonus effect when that hits by the looks of it. But anyway, not that that's important. And those poor goblins. Those poor goblins. This is just mean. This feels cruel. Although, of course, this isn't the main enemy army, so we don't really care. And once again, this is without the guns, this is without the artillery. You know what? Let's call this target practice. This army has wanted a little bit of target practice, and it seems only reasonable to train up your troops a little bit. There we go, we just have the... Oh, would you look at that? The enemy's trying to flank us a little bit with a unit of Wolf Raiders. Let's see if they can close the distance, though I don't imagine they can. Very close, though. They nearly managed to close the distance, but they got shattered before they did. Unfortunate for them, but pretty much expected. Anyway, with that, the main enemy host arrives on the field. Miao Ying is doing the only thing that she needs to do this battle, which is dueling the enemy lord, while the enemy army starts making its way towards our crossbows. And of course, their own demise. Alright, and with that, it looks like the enemy lord will shatter. Yuan's bows fire once again against or at some goblin laborers, and it looks like if Miao Ying can catch the enemy lord, said lord will be destroyed. Alright, crossbows are making quick work of whatever enemies are getting closer to them. Are we faster? 89 speed versus 108 speed. Beautiful. Which means we should be able to close the distance and kill off the enemy lord. Come on, Meow. Get that bite in there. And... oh, there it is. Lightning struck. And down you go. Alrighty, beautiful work, and now it's just the enemy army left, which once again really doesn't look to be particularly problematic. Looks like some hobgoblin cutthroats will actually get close to us due to their stalk, but as soon as they get sighted, they're gonna have a bad time. There we go, and that looks like a pretty darn bad time. They drop to basically no units and no HP as soon as they get sighted. I like how the gunners and the artillery and the Terracotta Sentinels are just watching. They don't even need to do anything. Also, with the Bastion of the Great Cities and the buffs we have, look at the stats on these units. 149 armor on the Celestial Dragon crossbows, and these are the regular ones, and 95 missile strength. They've essentially become fire glaives, which is pretty darn nice. And 95 missile strength, once again, is very solid, but 149 armor. which is something you'd expect more out of a Chaos or a Dwarf unit. Alrighty, there we go. We've moved closer and once again can continue to fire. Meow Ying can transform back into human form as she no longer needs to contribute to the battle. If the enemy can actually manage to close the distance with our crossbows, we'll let them fight in melee, although somehow I doubt it. As in, I doubt the enemy's ability to close, but let's see if they can. Man, Yuan's bows have been absolutely cleaning up in this particular battle, and I think that they're going to have an absolutely massive number of kills. It looks like the laborers are turning. It doesn't necessarily mean that the Chaos Dwarfs that remain are turning, but actually it looks like everybody's running. And just like that, the battle is ours. Alrighty, so, to kill off all of those piles of units, hey, look at that, Yuan's bows actually ran out of ammunition with 406 kills, mind you. Yeah, it looks like all we needed was these few units of crossbows without even the hilarious ease with which the fire rain rockets would have destroyed the enemy. And we've seen the Terracotta Sentinels fight, frankly, a lot more than the Dragon crossbows so far, especially since their Construct army had a little bit of a spotlight battle. Anyway, with that, the battle is decisive, and the last settlement, unless I'm mistaken, of the Overlords of Jarduk is ours, or destroyed, whatever we choose to do after this. And I do believe the last battle, or at the very least likely the last battle, is ours as well. Beautiful. Now just to destroy the enemy faction. Alrighty, well, we gave them about as much of a chance as we were likely to do, right? That was about as fair as it was gonna get, as we only used 6 or 7, I guess, if you count Yuan's bows here, although they're basically an artillery piece at this point, with their range and the damage that they deal, plus the stock on top of that. But anyway, just the Celestial Dragon crossbows, no spells, no nothing. Easy. We can occupy it, and the reason I think we'll occupy it is if this is their only settlement, they should start suffering attrition, yes? With no region to call home, fantastic. So that should mean, in theory, that Gord starts moving this way, although he basically has no army remaining either way. And I do believe the game should be just about ours, unless there's a hidden little army here, but if there was, it's probably been destroyed by now. Let's end one more turn, and this should be the last turn of the campaign. A little bit unfortunate we couldn't quite catch Archaon, but, you know, he got himself killed and thus was not even worthy of Yuan's attentions. And yeah, it looks like the Nagaryth forces did manage to destroy that little army, so only Gorth's remains, and we'll see if Reikland manages to catch it or not. Let's see if the faction is still here. I think they should be last, or... Okay, I haven't been watching all of these. Oh, no, they're still there. And, okay, well, obviously we're not fighting this.
The Emperor loves you. They have no other.
Alrighty, and let's see. Is Gorthy alive? Gorthy? I don't see you. While fails, amateur discovered, faction destroyed. Alrighty. Well, folks, there it is. With that, the campaign does come to a close. We've already seen the endgame screen there, and there's nothing really else to fight that stands any kind of chance. Now that the Great Orthodoxy has managed to kill off Archaon, their interior territories are also safe from threat, and we would be able to destroy anybody that comes this way, even if they did. The ogres are pushing up this way into the Chaos Waste, and looks like Archaon's faction will be destroyed, and really only Harganeth is left, and frankly, Crone Hellebron alone is not enough, just by the to deal with the sheer number of Nagaryth armies. that we have here, even without considering all the help from everybody else. I am a little bit impressed with how long Umbilicor has managed to survive, but by the looks of it, that won't last for much longer, as he's about to get hit by all the elves and all the Bretonnians as well. And it's just in a matter of turns, essentially. Exiles are dead, Nagarond is dead, Kairos is very much in trouble, and yeah, we've pretty thoroughly won this. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. It's been a fun, quick, short and sweet, I guess, campaign, but I think everybody we got to use every single type of unit, which is generally what I like to do with lots of different army compositions, even if they didn't get to play as much, perhaps, as usual. The next campaign will be put to a vote as usual in the community tab, so that'll probably be held within the next few days, and I might do like a little mini campaign while the vote is held, something like a challenge campaign. I've been meaning to do one for ages, and I've been thinking about what kind of thing to do, so that could be something we do between the votes. Anyway, once again, thanks for sticking with it. Don't forget to leave a like and comment, whatever I usually say. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.